Welcome back everyone to the Astro's Playroom GPU Jungle Any% Speedrun Guide. In this video I will be showing you the fastest routes that were made possible during the recording of this video, and I will show you how to hit every single strategy that will be needed to cut down your time as much as possible. I will also be going over some alternate routes and some other tricks that you will need to know that I did not explain in the first video that I made for this series. If you have not watched the first video, it is highly recommended that you go back and watch it, so that way you understand some of the terminology that I will be using in this video and how I am able to do certain strategies. Now with all that cleared up and out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that we need to establish is as soon as you enter this world, the timer and rotations of all enemies and all obstacles that normally move on their own will be moving throughout this entire world. Which means even though you are on the first stage, certain objects and enemies will be moving around as normal all the way up to the final stage. The first thing that you want to do on this world is you will come up to this box right in front of you. The fastest route is to go to the left after you jump up on the box, and then you will see this little caterpillar looking enemy. You can jump on its back and then move right on ahead and make this jump on the corner. It is extremely difficult, but I will break it down for you so that way you know how to make it. The first thing you will need is your maximum speed. In order to get this, just run in a fairly straight path and you will get it just before you get to this little pond right in front of you. If you have that, the next thing you will need to do is to jump directly to the left, and you will see this little ledge that you can actually make up on top of. It is very important that you go right into this corner to where the path cuts off. If you try to go to the right or to the left and get up here, it will cost you too much time and you will never be able to make the jump. However, this corner dips down just a little bit, which means that if you do a hover and a spin, you can get up on top of this ledge a little easier and a little quicker, I may add. After you hit that, you will need to jump on this first stair, jump out and around, and it's very important that you go around as you're getting on top of this. If you try to go straight up, you will never be able to make it on the caterpillar's back on time and to make the next jump. So if you go around, you're covering distance as long as getting the amount of height that you will need. Once you do that, you will need to quickly jump on the caterpillar's back and immediately jump off. You will need to jump fairly center on top of one of these caterpillar parts that have a hard hat on them, because if you jump a little to the side, then Astro will not get the amount of height that he will need. If you timed everything quickly and perfectly, you will find that you can barely make it on top of this ledge. I have not been able to make this doing a spin and then a hover, but I believe it is very possible. I recommend doing a hover and then a spin so that way you can make this jump just a little easier. If you are having a hard time hitting this strategy, there is an alternate route that is about 5 seconds slower. All you do is this coin box you normally jumped on earlier went to the left, you will go straight instead, and you will kill all these enemies up to the first wire. Once those enemies are dead, just pull this wire in front of you and do a wire cancel to get out of the animation as quickly as possible. If there is still an enemy alive, don't panic, just pull the wire to the left away from that enemy so that way they do not kill you or cut the wire. The next trick you will need to know is the long jump. This is not a too terribly difficult strategy. If Astro is still at maximum speed, all you have to do is pull this wire and you will get a canister that you can throw at this object in front of you, which will spawn a rope that you can walk across. However, with a well-timed jump, hover, and spin, you can skip having to walk across this entire wire. The next thing you will need to know is the barrel skip, or as one of our Discord members like to call it, the Indiana Jones skip. You will see this giant barrel coming at you. The intended way is for you to run backwards and allow the barrel to pass. However, you can stand and walk on this left side of the wall and go around the barrel. There is a small chance that you can get killed by it. I've honestly never had a problem with it, but I have seen other members die to it. The reason for this is there's a small rock in front of you that can hold you up. If this is happening to you, just simply do a small jump and you will jump right over it and everything will be fine. Once that's cleared out of the way, just go around this enemy and do a jump so that way you do not die to the electric current that they shoot on the ground. And then you will jump on this trampoline in front of you and pull the wire to start the second stage of this world, which is the Terraflop Treetops. In this stage, accuracy is more important than speed, because if you try to go too fast and you're not grabbing these rocks correctly, you will lose way more time doing that than if you just accurately grab each rock. My recommendation is to go to the network speedrun stages and try the climbing run, and just practice the first section until you get a good feeling of how to accurately and quickly climb each rock. I usually always way overcompensate my movements so that way I know that I'm driving in the correct direction. Just experiment with different things and find out what works best for you. There's only a few things that I will go over in this stage. The one thing I do want to note is that the bars you swing from, you can get different distances depending on when you let go. If you want the maximum height, I recommend that you wait until the monkey is completely upside down, which is what we will be doing for most of the swings throughout this stage. The first bar that you swing from can actually let you skip the second bar and go straight to the third bar that you swing from. As I said earlier, just wait until the monkey is completely upside down and you will get the height that you need to grab the next bar. Once you do that, do another swing with the monkey upside down and climb up these few rocks. So just swing normally from this bar onto the final bar. And on the final bar swing, let go whenever the monkey is at the bottom of the bar. The reason for this is that you do not get too much height, and you can also press down this button as quickly as possible, ending the second stage. You also want to bounce into either the left or right wall just before you get to the button. This makes it so that way the monkey can start doing their grabbing animation a little sooner. The next stage that we have is the Raytrace Ruins. Immediately whenever you are sliding down, you will want to do a jump near the bottom of it to cancel the sliding animation for Astro, which will save you about a second. The next strategy that you will want to use is the trampoline skip. All you do is you pull this wire and perform a wire cancel, and jump on top of this first trigger button. Once you do, you will immediately jump back and get right under this wooden platform that's sticking out. If you did that correctly, just jump back out and around it, and you can get on top of here and save yourself a couple of seconds. Next, we will be doing probably one of my most favorite strategies in this world, called the tightrope skip. To do this skip, you will need to have Astro at his maximum speed. If you do not have it, do not even go for this strategy because you will never make it. In order to do this, the first thing you will need to do is to land on this power button, but it is very important that you land as close to the edge of it that you can. You will need to be on the backside of it because you need as much distance as possible. The reason for this is that as soon as you hit this button, these platforms will start springing out from the ground. And you need them to spring as late as you possibly can because you will need as much height and distance as you can get possible to make this jump. So once you successfully land on the back of this button, immediately do a jump onto this platform. You will run until about the back edge of this circle on the platform. If you get that, then you will be sure that you can make this jump. It will just take a little bit of practice of timing when to do your hover and a spin. You will time them a little late than normal because you need distance more important than height for this jump. Once you make it, you will land on this small notch sticking out from this platform, and then you will just immediately jump up. Next, you will jump on top of this little platform, and then immediately jump to the left to land on this rope. Once you do that, just do a normal jump and a hover, and immediately get off of it, and you can avoid the whole method of having to jump across a tightrope. If this strategy is proving to be a little too difficult, then you can just take the normal route. The normal route entails that you still land on the edge of the button, but it's not as precise as the last one. Once you do that, just jump out and make it to this last platform. Make sure to do a spin just before you get to it so that way you cancel your hover and do not break the glass below you and fall to your death. After that, you will just continue to jump across this tightrope. The difference between these two strategies is about 3 seconds. Next, you will need to retrieve the bow and arrow from this chest. What you need to do is you need to come over to these wires, pull them, and then break open the chest. It is also very important to note that these enemies flying above you can crush you while you're trying to do this. However, they will not start chasing you until you jump up on the first wooden platform or on top of this rocky surface that the chest is sitting at. So you want to get as close to the wires that opens the chest as fast as you can. A good way to do this is to do a hover and then a spin without touching the ground. Once you land by the wires where you can start pulling them, you should be able to pull them out in time before one of these enemies crush you. If you are having trouble with this, as soon as you land on top of this little platform, just immediately turn around and destroy them. It costs you about 3 to 4 seconds, but it is still better than dying. The next strategy that you will need to know is the bridge skip. To pull this off, just stand on top of these coin chests that are stacked on top of one another, and just start shooting these dynamites. It doesn't particularly matter which order you shoot them from, but I usually like to start with this first one on the bottom left. Since you cannot see the crosshairs of your bow and arrow while it's spawning out of the chest, I like to use a visual cue to know that I will hit this first shot immediately. What I use is this little ball on top of the antenna on Astro's head, and if you notice it is slightly lower than the first TNT. Once I grab the bow and arrow, then I can immediately shoot it and know that I will land the first TNT shot. The rest of them, just aim your bow and arrow and you can shoot them. The shots from the bow and arrow are actually a little more forgiving than they seem. You can actually miss the target slightly but still be able to hit it sometimes. Once you have destroyed all 4 of the TNTs, jump to this corner sticking out just to the left of the bridge. You can make this jump with a well-timed hovering spin. It does not have to be perfect, but you do need to do it correctly. After that, just jump to this wooden platform just before the top of the stage where the boss is. Once you are at the top where the boss fight takes place, a TNT will spawn right on top of his nose. Once you land up here, you can go ahead and shoot an arrow to where the TNT will spawn and it will start the boss fight. The stone dragon has a very predictable attack pattern, but he does have 2 different kinds of attack patterns. So it's important that you learn both of them and know exactly how to handle each one. I like to start from the left and see which attack pattern he's going to give me. After 3 attack patterns, he will have TNT spawn out of his ears. What I like to do is I like to set up the shot before he even gets there. I use these lines in the background and shoot in between the ones that are in a formation of a square in a sense. I use this and aim just slightly higher than where they are placed, and I can usually always hit the TNT on the first shot. You will do the same for the second one. Just dodge 3 attack patterns, use your visual cue to hit the next TNT, and then he will move into his final attack pattern. Now depending on which 2 attack patterns he gave you, he will either swing from the center to the left or from the center to the right. It is important that you can distinctly tell which one it's going to be. To know which one it will be will depend on which side he ends you on. If he ends you on the left side, then he will swing from the center to the right, and vice versa. So create your visual cue, which I like to aim just slightly above this black line, and then shoot and hit the final blow. After that, you will have 1 more tether that you need to walk across, and then you are on to the final stage of this world, which is Mountain Motherboard. If you clear the first 3 stages and the boss fight quickly enough, you'll find that this rock swinging back and forth you will be able to immediately grab as soon as you climb up here. If not, then it means that you lost a little bit of timing somewhere, but not too bad. For each time this rock has to swing back and forth is about the time loss of 4 seconds. Once you swing across, just climb up to this first bar and immediately swing up. If you get hit by this enemy, it is actually a good thing if you can grab the next bar right above you. This allows the monkey to grab the bar even quicker and allows you to swing up even faster and go up to the next bar. With letting go of your swings just right, you can actually skip a few more parts of this stage. What you need to do is that whenever the monkey is upside down, get your maximum height and let go. And you will just immediately hold the controller tilted to the right so that you can get to this platform and immediately grab it. If you are having a hard time landing this or need to do an extra swing to get it just right, just know that is perfectly fine, you will only lose 1 second. If you need to move Astro down the bar a little bit, this costs you about another 1 to 2 seconds. After that, just swing up as normal and start climbing these rocks up. And then you will go to another bar in which you will do the same thing with swinging, getting your maximum height, and then start tilting the monkey to the right. After that, you will come up to another bar and you will swing with the monkey upside down to get your maximum height and grab this next bar. It is very important that you do not immediately jump off of this bar. This bar allows the walls to spawn that have the stones on them. If you let go too early, then it will not activate and you'll have to swing back down and activate the bar again. Once these rocks are spawned, just climb up them and go up to the last bar and then do another swing. You can either grab these stones to your left or right. It actually doesn't matter because you will still be on the same cycle depending on where you land. Just continue climbing up and then grab this last little lever that pulls you all the way to the end of the stage. Once you do that, again as with the sliding before, just jump to cancel the sliding animation and get out of it sooner. And then you will jump on top of this joystick to the right and then immediately jump up to the next platform. And then you will pull the final wire that ends the stage. We will now do another strategy called cutscene skipping. There are several ways to do this. If you are recording on PlayStation and cannot show your main menu, then you will just open up your quick menu and teleport back to a previous stage. The fastest method is to teleport to the second stage of the world that you are in, because when you open up the quick teleport map, it only requires you to do one input and then hold the X button to go to the next world. Generally, you want to go counterclockwise in order to do this. If you can show your PlayStation menu and wish to teleport a different way, then you can hold your PlayStation button down, go down here, and then you can see the last 10 or so teleports that you can generally go to. The only difference between this and the other strategy is that you have the power of choice of choosing which stage you want to go to next. They are both about the same timing, and there's really no time difference I've seen, because teleporting through the PlayStation menu has a longer loading time. It is also very important to note that if you teleport too early, you will not finish the world and not get your PlayStation console. The visual cue to look out for is that whenever Astro completely falls out of the screen, you are free to teleport or hold down your PlayStation button. When you can freely move the console with your controller, that means that you already have the console, but using this timing allows you to get out as quickly as possible and be able to claim the console. The next world we will be going to is SSD Speedway, and that is where this video will end and where the next one will pick up. I hope you enjoyed this guide, good luck, and I will see you next time. Bye.